Think we are live. Let's just give it another minute for people to join in, um, and we can get started.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. Well, hello everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Tasneem Ahmed, and I work in the business development team here at Parallels. Joining me is my colleague Paxi. He's our senior account manager based in Florida, and will be, of course, your technical and commercial guide to today's discussion. We're here to discuss something that's on the top of the mind for many IT professionals for today, the complexity of Citrix and traditional VDI solutions. More importantly, we'll explore how Parallels provides a better alternative that doesn't compromise on capability and performance. Having said that, I'd like to highlight the topic for today's discussion: simple, scalable, and secure. How Parallels RAS is basically a better VDI solution. Having said that, let me just quickly give you an overview of what we'll be covering today. We're going to walk through some key topics that I think you'll find both relevant and practical, especially if you're navigating the challenges of remote and hybrid infrastructures. Of course, I'm going to touch upon the rise of hybrid work in today's work environments and how it's reshaping the expectations of course, IT infrastructure leaders and end user computing engineers. The common challenges faced by Citrix and, of course, the legacy VDI solutions in today's marketplace. We'll, of course, cover what really makes Parallels RAS different from its competitors. And towards the end, my colleague Paxi will give you a clear breakdown of the Parallels RAS architecture and a quick demo. So you'll see all of it in live action as well. Please feel free to pop in your questions as we will personally reach out to you to get back to you on them, or of course, try to address them towards the end of this discussion. Our goal today is to give you a solid understanding of how Parallels can fit into your infrastructure and maybe even rethink how you approach application and desktop delivery altogether. Well, let's take a moment to talk about the kinds of decisions IT teams are facing today. The modern IT landscape is complex. It's shaped not just by strategy, but by a host of external pressures: security protocols, budget constraints, and sometimes even legacy systems that are too tightly woven into the businesses to just walk away from. At Parallels, we get all of this. We don't believe in forcing companies into a one size fits all approach. While we understand every organization's infrastructure can be unique, some might be fully on prem, others might be cloud native. Many fall somewhere in between, navigating in that hybrid middle ground. That's why our solutions are built with flexibility at its core. Our mission at Parallels is simple: to make your transitions, whether they happen all at once or gradually over time, as smooth and seamless as possible. We want to take the stress out of your infrastructure decision teams so your teams can really focus on what really matters: driving your business forward, staying secure, and keeping your employees productive. Because in the end, technology should work for you, not the other way around. Today, hybrid isn't just about where employees work. Let's face it, it's about where your workloads really live. With apps spread across on prem, private, and public clouds, seamless access seems to be the key. Our team at Parallels recently conducted a state of the cloud computing survey for 2025, where we engaged with 600 IT professionals around the world to better understand where organizations are currently in their cloud journey and where they're headed next. One of the most striking insights that we got as a team, as you can see over here, is that security was at the top of their mind. While 88% of respondents said that their organizations plan to increase their security budget in the next year, with nearly half aiming for a significant increase. Another key trend that we are seeing is a shift away from public cloud. 86% of those who surveyed are either considering actively moving their workloads towards public cloud. Within that group, 27% are basically looking at a hybrid cloud model, while 14%, as you see over here, still plan to be on-prem. When asked where their workloads are currently living, 50% said that they use multi cloud environments, and 32% are running a hybrid setup that combines cloud with on prem resources. And finally, remote work continues to be a major driver, with almost 85% of organizations still supporting some level of remote work. Having said that, I'd love to, of course, dive deeper into today's discussion where I'm going to give you an overview of where we come from as a company and as a product. I'm sure many of you know us from our legacy product, Parallels Desktop, which is what lets you run Windows seamlessly on your Mac devices. It's a favorite among developers, gamers, or anyone who prefers Windows but wants to use a MacBook. But today we are here to talk about something different, Parallels RAS, or Parallels Remote Application Server, which of course sits on the server cloud business of our brand. Uh, and of course, if you're using Citrix or traditional VDI solutions like Omnisa or Nerdio, this is a solution worth paying attention to. In a nutshell, Parallels RAS, or Parallels Remote Application Server, is a streamlined virtualization tool for delivering apps or desktops. Whether you're running on prem, in the cloud, or completely on a hybrid setup, it offers you the flexibility to integrate with your current infrastructure, including AVD, while giving you a unified management experience across all platforms. This flexibility is what is making the key difference for organizations looking for a simpler, more cost effective alternative to traditional solutions like Citrix. Of course, I'd love to special mention some of our other solutions, as you see over here. Parallels DOS, which is one of our latest in the market. Our cloud native desktop as a service solution. It's, of course, built for organizations that want to provide secure, flexible access to desktops without dealing with the complex headaches. And because security is always a priority, we offer two products in the security space, which is, of course, Parallels Browser Isolation, optimized for secure browsing, whereas Parallels Secure Workspace, which comes very similar to the Parallels RAS experience as a unified workspace solution, but limits you to a browser based experience if you don't want to install a client on your personal devices. Having said that, I'll just quickly focus on Parallels RAS again because that's what's going to be the key topic for today's discussion. Well, the challenges, of course, in the VDI space, and that's where Parallels RAS really sits, are of course immense. And if you were to rank some of them that we've talked about in regards to the IT leaders that we speak to on a regular basis, as well as if you go back to the state of the cloud computing survey that we conducted, we noticed that organizations are grappling with high costs and outdated VDI systems. 63% are evaluating new VDI or DAS solutions, with 94% aiming to deploy a new platform within the same year. The results are pointing towards some key trends, as you see over here. If you were to rank them, the rising costs or the increasing licensing costs that are coming with traditional solutions, and of course, the performance and reliability issues that come with an uncertain product or strategy roadmap. Whereas, of course, the concern of future support, lack of centralized control and integration with existing technologies, or just some of many challenges that traditional VDI users are facing. And of course, if your organization is familiar with any of these challenges, would love to know them in the comments, if you don't mind, of course. And in contrast to all of this, Parallels ROS keeps things very simple, cost effective, and of course, with security on the top of its mind. We'll get into this exactly in a bit. Before I solely speak about RAS, I'd like to kind of compare Citrix and RAS from a side by side basis. Starting with licensing, right? Citrix requires a universal license just to enable hybrid environments. In contrast, Parallels simplifies this with just one license that supports hybrid use out of the box. When it comes to integration with AVD, for example, Citrix replaces the AVD control plane as a whole, introducing another layer of complexity. Parallels integrates natively, meaning lesser disruption and faster setup. And with Parallels, one license covers concurrent users across any locations. No changes needed howsoever. Now let's talk about the cost of Citrix, right? It has a last pay price, which can significantly increase your renewal costs. So if you've not faced the wrath of Citrix renewals yet, you might be up for a surprise. And while Citrix training can be expensive and time consuming, Parallels offers a simple training path with free resources available online for you and your team. And of course, finally, Citrix and other traditional VDI solutions often involve a complex mix of components, not just to manage, but of course, maintain and deploy to keep things running. RAS keeps things streamlined and simple. Fewer components, easier maintenance, and less stress for your IT teams. Let me just quickly talk about what really makes RAS different, or what are our key USPs that we bring to the table. Simplicity, as I mentioned earlier as well, is the top of the game. Parallels RAS is designed for ease of use, particularly in hybrid environments, whether your workloads run on AVD, on prem, AWS, VMware, or Nutanix. The deployment and management experience as a whole remains consistent. Provisioning resources in AVD feels just like deploying on prem. No additional training or steep learning curves required. Whereas flexibility is, of course, one of the key elements that we also bring to the table. When you talk about adapting to your existing infrastructure with minimal disruption, RAS's intuitive wizard guided console handles the complexities behind the scenes seamlessly. And the entire um, setup process from the start to production could take anywhere between a few minutes to maximum of a few hours. And of course, the elephant in the room, the cost effectiveness. Parallels RAS provides a more affordable alternative to traditional VDI solutions, specifically like Citrix. With a single universal concurrent subscription model and a lower total cost of ownership for your team as well, it's easy to see the financial benefits right from day one. And as a whole, something that I want to emphasize before, of course, diving deeper from a practical standpoint is the user experience. No matter what device you're operating on, whether it be Windows, Mac OS, or Linux, or just a browser based experience, Parallels RAS delivers a consistent, responsive experience. Users can securely access applications or desktops through either native clients that they can install or completely from our HTML5 browser based experience. Uh, all right, having said that, I'd love to kind of dive deeper on the core architectural point of view from a product perspective for Parallels RAS, and I'd love to give the stage to Paxi, who's of course our technical account manager. He will not only give you an idea of what the architecture looks like, but of course also have a hands-on preview of the tool as well. So yeah, over to you, Paxi.
Hey, thank you, Taz. And thank you for the promotion, technical account manager. I'm actually the Parallels account manager for Florida and Georgia. So anything that is screen Parallels in one of these two states, I'm the go-to guy. And if you can go to the next page, please.
Here we
So
go.
Parallels RAS have to live somewhere, and that somewhere is basically provided by you, the customer. So you install Parallel RAS in a Windows 2016 or higher, and that Windows 2016 or higher can be on premise. It could be on the cloud, could be in a private cloud, it could be in a public cloud, somewhere, but hosted by the customer. What happened is that after you install the Parallels RAS console, that becomes your primary connection broker. From there is where you deploy to your entire infrastructure. So if you want to add some RDS terminal servers, uh, RAS will push the agent into those RDS. You can create templates if you have multiple RDS servers, and so like that, you can use it as a Go image, or what they call it, a machine catalog on the Citrix language, and you can deploy from there. So like that, you can just right click, and if you want to do any changes, right click into the template, and then when you right click onto the template, you can send it over to maintenance, open that, open the server, and then once you open the server, you can just do the changes that you wanted to do. Then it will create kind of like a snapshot once you get out of maintenance, or a version, like what we call it. So like that, all the machines or the RDS hosts that you have created, it would be affected, meaning that any changes, any patches that you might need to do, you do it on your Go image, and then you just need to republish again that application or that desktop that you did. When I say publish again, it's just by selecting where you're publishing from on the host pool that you have for the terminal server. We can also publish remote PC. We have use cases where we have remote workers overseas, in which they log in into the computers here in US, or kind of like a lab for like an architecture film, and they actually do the work there, and you can enable what they call it remote PC. So RAS, the main connection broker, push the agent to those machines, open the roof of firewall, reboot if necessary, and call it a day. So everything is done from like one pane of glass, which is going to be our RAS console, your main connection broker. You can also set up VDI. So like right now, with all the changes from Broadcom with VMware, there is a big boom in Nutanix, for example, and we automate that Nutanix for you. So you only need to set up the providers on the RAS, and by allowing that, we can control your Nutanix for, let's say, machine cloning to delete the machines. So you can have that Go image and provide, let's say, Windows 11 single session with the VDI. It could be persistent, non-persistent. You can make it to be assigned to a user in a specific right away they log in. You can make that when the user log off or disconnect, the machine to be no assigned to that user in a specific. But when we do like a non-persistent machine, we utilize FS logics for our deployments if you want to. So like that, the profiles will be saved in a files share on an SMB folder. And like that, when the user connect to machine 1, 2, 3, or 4, they have the same profiles. Another thing as well that you can do, you can publish like local apps that you might have, and you might say, oh, how does Teams works or WebEx or anything like that. As you know, most of our the VDI providers, we recommend to do the URL redirection. So like that, you don't need to send the users to the server, to your main server, and from the server to like the WebEx server or to like the Teams server. So what we recommend is just to do a URL redirection, so like that, you can go from the endpoint right away to, like, say, the Teams server. As you can see on the left side of the puzzle, is that we offer an HTML5 client, and similar to what Citrix does, that they have like a Citrix receiver or workspace, we do offer a Parallels client that can be installed in any OS. So it could be Windows, Linux, Mac, Chrome, iPhone, Android. And we do work with thin clients that are there, like Dellwise, Tenzig, iGel. We are on the marketplace of iGel, for example, and we were the application of the year on 2024. So we support those things clients. There is another functionality, as you can see on the bottom on the left side, is that we can make those Windows machines, when you install the Parallels clients for Windows, a kiosk. So like that, the only thing that the user can see will be your Parallels client. So they only gonna see whatever you publish for them based on their profile, MAC ID address, themes, operating system. So there's a lot of filters that you can apply. As you see on the middle, our licenses, like Taz was mentioning, is one unique license that comes with everything included. We only care about concurrent user The RAS licensing come with secure gateways, and those secure gateways, we don't care how many you deploy. We don't care if you're utilizing the analytics that we offer, because we do have like a reporting services, and then we also have auditing and monitoring together. We support any, most likely any Radius server, and so any IDP for your single sign-on as well. If you can go to the next slide, please.
Yep.
As you can see here, we integrate with Leader on the EUC marketplace, as we can automate your Azure environment. We can automate your AVD environment. We also are, so if you have a scale computing for your hypervisor, VMware, Nutanix, or Hyper-V, we can do automation. You might think, oh, right now, after everything that happens with VMware, can I use KVM? Can I use Proxmox? We do support them, but there is no automation yet. And I say yet because we do have it in the near future. As you can see here, we integrate with leaders on the marketplace from thin clients. And if you need like something has like, let's say, anti-screen capture or anti-key logging, we integrate with leaders on that environment as well. You want to go to the next slide? So on the core architecture, there is a few different things. First, we have our high availability load balancer, which is a Linux appliance. This is very small. This is a virtual machine of 1 vCPU, 2 gig of RAM. Then we have our secure gateway. When we're talking about the secure gateway, a secure gateway, when you push it, the install from the connection broker to a Windows server, so the secure gateway is a Windows server, you can hold loads up to 1,200 concurrent user. And you might say, Paxi, I see secure gateway, connection broker. What are the specs that you need for these guys? It's very simple, because you are used to if you are in the Citrix cloud, you are used to cloud connectors. Basically, the connection broker can replace your cloud connector, and is the same specs of your cloud connector. The same thing for secure gateway. It's the same spec of a cloud connector. So easy to remember, because you are used to cloud connectors if you are on the Citrix cloud. If you're not on the Citrix cloud and you're on premise, the only thing that you need is 2 vCPU, 4 gig of RAM for a connection broker, the same thing that you need for a secure gateway. You can actually combine connection broker and secure gateway both on the same Windows server as well. It's just that it's going to handle like around 250 concurrent users when you have both rows together. Some question that sometimes pop up, Paxi, I have a CAM load balancer. I use my NetScaler because, as you know, NetScaler is very powerful. I will give them that as a plus on the Citrix side. Or I have F5 or I have Zscaler. You can use your load balancers that you're currently using now. Our load balancer is just something that is just going to be for round robin when you have multiple gateways. So you can go to the next slide, please.
Yes, there we go.
So one of the things is the flexibility that we have, and then you can just click multiple times into the here, because in reality, you can publish applications or desktop out of different environment. So if you set up, we call it providers, if you set up your hypervisor, Hyper-V, your Nutanix, and your Azure, for the end user, which is the screen that you're looking at, they don't know where these applications or these desktops are being hosted. For the end user, it's seamless. If you can see, it looks similar to the Citrix workspace. You can go next on that. Let's see if we can show you guys a quick demo.
Yes, let me quickly give you the stage with that, Paxi. 1 minute.
Yep. So here is our web client. So one of the things that you can do, we call it themes. To whatever you see right now has a graphics or configuration here. You can have multiple themes. So if you have multiple companies, so if your company is like the global headquarters or like a multinational, and then you have different logos, you can have different themes for different companies inside your environment. We support multi-tenancy as well, if just in case you want to have a fully isolated farm, different for every tenant that you might have. The users can authenticate with any IDP for single sign-on uh, or with Active Directory, as you can see here. Multi-factor authentication is included with the tool. We offer OTP, so Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator, or any other free OTP. And you can configure within seconds, and it's 30 seconds, and you will see it right in the moment when I can configure mine. Right now on my demo is disabled. So another thing that you can see on the screen on the web client is on the top right, you have download a client. So this client will be for your, it depends on your OS. So if I'm running a Mac, it's going to download the Mac client. If I'm running Linux, it's going to download the Linux client, and so forth. When the users authenticate, they will see everything that is posted for them, and you can filters, and I will show you how to filter for the users, like applications or desktop. So as you can see, I have a folder, and I can open, let's say, Paint, and my server is in EMEA, and I reside in Florida. So there is a little latency, but it's not as bad as you might think. But this is really good to show that how quick it is after the first session is open. So with that being said, let me just open my RAS console, which is going to be your primary connection broker. Here is where the beauty happened. So this is what you install in a Windows 2016 or higher, and it could be anywhere on the public cloud, private cloud, on-premise. So the first thing that I want to show is that you can always check the health of your environment by just clicking on site. As you can see, it says site 1, because you can have multiple sites on the same platform. So I can see like the status of my tenant broker. I can see the status of my RDS session host. I can see that my provider have an authentication issue. That's why it's in red. I have the status of my secure gateway, and so forth, that you can see here. The first thing that you wanted to do, if you want to publish multi-session. So when I call multi-session, it could be a terminal server, or it could be that you are in Azure. As you know, you can do Windows multi-session, Windows 10 or Windows 11 multi-session only in Azure after 2021. But you can also do utilize RDS as well, so terminal servers, so Windows Server, in order to publish. So the first thing that you wanted to do when you are here, if you have a few hosts, let's say that you have a small environment and you only have like 4 RDS, and they might be completely different. The only thing that you need to do is just hit the plus, and then you can search for, with Active Directory, or add it with your IP. When you go here, the only thing that you need to do is just check for the names. As you can see, I can just click on these 2 servers with Shift, select them. If I have a different name, I can add it on as well. When I click OK, I can hit next, and automatically we're gonna push the firewall rules, the RDS role. We're gonna reboot your system, those Windows servers, or those terminal servers, or those Windows multi-session. You can create a host pool. So let's call it, that is going to be app server. And we add it on. Then I click next. The users are going to be added to authenticated user group. Or if you have like something that is like remote or anything, you can add it from here. Then when I click next, as mentioned before, we utilize FSLogix. So the only thing that you need to do is remove this box right here, set that it's FSLogix. And as you can see, deployment method, it says manual. Manual means that you're going to install manually on those RDS, on those terminal servers, FS logics. But if you want to, you can change that. And let's say that you want Parallels to handle that. In this case, I'm going to download it from the online, from the Microsoft side, and RAS is going to push the installation to those servers. This is the only time that you can do it here. If you forget to do that now, the way that you can go back to this, it will be to install it manually on all the other servers. Then you can configure where those guys are going to be saved up here. Sorry about that. And then you click on the disk, and you can add your folder right here where they're going to be saved. It will require, as you can see here, a GPO policy, so like that, for the permissions, and users cannot see other users' profile. Then when I click next, this is something that I always like to say. We do have optimization. I personally don't like to click optimization when I'm doing a POC. And the reason why is remove a few different things, and it takes like around from 20 minutes to 40 minutes in order to do this optimization. So right now, I'm just going to say that I don't want it, and I hit next. And then once I hit finish, I'm not going to click it now. This is my demo environment. Then you are going to be able to go to publishing. And if you have a shortcut, you can just drag and drop to here. If you use our Citrix migration tool, all the applications that you have, and let's say like this desktop, and as you see, there is filters. So all the filters that you might have in Citrix, so like who have access to this application, they migrate as well. So in order to publish something else, you can just go to add, and you can publish an application, a desktop, a web application, a document, or a folder. I'm going to say that I want an application. Then you can say it's from a terminal server, it's from a VDI host, it's from a remote PC, it's from my local device, or it's from an Azure, so AVD. Then I'm going to click next. There's multiple things that might happen here. So we do have the option with app attached to do application packages. So like that, you can say, publish a desktop, and then say, okay, so this group of applications need to be affected. So when I run my desktop, these guys have access to this. We also have a single application, means that you're going to specify the path of the application. If the application is actually installed, you can hit that it's an install application. When I hit next, I can select the pool that I just created. Is if you have multiple servers, or you can just select individually the servers where the application might reside. When I click next, it's going to show me all the published applications. I'm going to click on OneDrive, but I can select Keep Pass as well. When I hit next, I can say that it's disabled, so like that nobody can see it. Or I can say that it's enabled, so like that everybody can see it. When I hit next, I hit finish. Then I might see here my Keep Pass and my OneDrive. If I hit apply, everybody can see it. But what you wanted to do before you hit apply, you want to apply filters to tell who have access to this application. So the first thing that you want to do is double click the filter, say deny for everyone, and then you can create a policy named sales. And then when I hit plus, I can say this user, this group. If you have a gateway, this one is really good for banks. They utilize Swift application to transfer funds. You can say when they come in, when the user come in from the internal gateway, give access to the application, but where they are from home, deny access to this application. We have, I mentioned about the teams. You can say if they doesn't come from this team, doesn't have access to it. We do offer wildcard for the name of the computer. So if you have a trusted devices and you know that all your devices start with bank, you can set up a wildcard bank asterisk. So like that, you can give access to the application. If you know that all your devices are in IGEL, you can say only allow Linux. if you know the IP address or if you know the MAC ID. So you can have all of these rules apply at the same time as well. So you can granular give access to those applications or deny access to those applications that you want to publish. The other thing is that when we are doing like databases, like it's an application that is running in a database and you don't want to have somebody dragging your servers down, you can also go to licenses, disable this box here, and only allow one instance of that application. So like that, one user doesn't open 7 reports at the same time. The other thing that you can do here is that when I mentioned about the providers, so like that you can have a Go image. This is the providers that we actually allow for automation. So if you want to automate or do like a scalability, you can do it with here. After you set up the provider, that's when you can create a template for your environment. So if I hit plus, it's going to show me all the VMs that you have on those cluster that you added on into the RAS environment. Then when I'll go and create a host pool, I can say that my host pool is going to be sales. When I click next, I can say that the machine is already created. So if you have machines that are already created, in this case, like a KVM, a machine created by KVM or Proxmox, you can do standalone, or you can hit template. So you can go from your goal image. On the template, this is the part that I mentioned that you can select the version that you want. You can select the template and the version. When I click next, you can say my max allow, it will be 50 machines, and you can change the names of the computer here. And then you can create buffer. So I said, you know what? I need to have 10 always available. Or if I'm in Azure, I want to have 30 always available. And when I say in Azure, a little bit different, is because your hypervisor that is on premise or somewhere might be faster than what Azure can do for cloning. So when you do cloning and the machine is not available, you're going to have a pop-up message that's going to say, please wait until the machine is being created. So you don't want to have that user experience. So that's why you need to have in mind what is the buffer that you actually require and then you need. Because everybody knows how long it takes to clone a machine in Azure. In this case, if I have Nutanix, you can have a smaller buffer. And I say, you know what? I want to have 10 always available. And then you can say, I want to have, so when user number 1 connect, machine number 11 is going to be auto create. You can also say that delete the unused host machines if they're not being used within 5 minutes. Or you can say never if they're persistent, but they are non-persistent. You can just say in a week. Then I click next, and then I can say what to do when the session disconnect or log off. For this, you can say restart, suspend, delete, unassign from the computer, and then you can say immediately if you want to. Then we will use FS logics, so like that we can keep the profiles of the users. As you can see, it's already pre-configured because I already configured an RDS session host. So everything is configured the same. So like that, if they use an application or if they use a machine, they have the same profile. Once that's done, everything is all set. You can manage the session. And let's say if you have a help desk, you can just allow them access to just sessions. And you can see all the information of the user here on this main screen. You can right click here and then you can customize whatever you want to see. If you want to see latency or reconnect or disconnect reason or whatever you want to on this main screen, you can set up whatever you want to see first. If you double click in one user, you can have the insight of that user. As mentioned, my server is in EMEA and I'm in Florida. And you can see my latency and how flawless the system works, even with 94 milliseconds. This is a better insight for your users. But if you right-click the user, you can disconnect, log off, remote control, or shadow if you want to, send a message, whatever it needs. We utilize for printing is printer redirection. So you don't need to install any drivers into any end user endpoint. So if you are able to print locally in your computer at home, you're going to be able to print from your virtual environment. Uh, you can also do log on hours. I know that you can do it in Active through Active Directory as well with the GPO, but you can also do it here without utilizing a GPO. So you can set up like different shifts. So like that, the user from the morning doesn't see the afternoon, and the afternoon or the evening doesn't see the one overnight. So like that, you have three different users utilizing just one license from Parallels. We have multi-factor authenticator is included as mentioned. And if you want to just set up one, we support Radius server, as you can see here, but we can do OTP. Let's set up Microsoft Authenticator. You can just put a name. For example, say that everybody's going to be affected on this team. When I hit next, you can set up the tolerance so like that you can allow users 90 seconds in order to put that PIN code. You hit next and finish. That's it. Multi-factor authentication is already set up. You just hit apply and everybody will be affected. In this case, if you want to have affect only a few different employees, you can double click on this guy here and then you can set up restriction. You're going to say enable MFA if the user is X, Y, and Z, remote, or is coming from the external gateway or whatever it is. If a user changed their phone and they didn't know their Microsoft Authenticator logins, you can reset a user in a specific by just looking to the user right here. And last but not least, so like that we can give a little time for questions. We do have an option for a monitoring as well, but I like to recommend instead of spinning up a monitoring services, you can go to site like mentioned on the beginning. So if I click on site, you can see the health of your environment. If you want to have more insight about your connection, we integrate with ControlUp. So if you want to have more insight of those end user experience, you can utilize the DEX from ControlUp in order to do all these things, right? You don't need to spin up the reporting services from Parallels or the monitoring services. You can just use your ControlUp. But we do have out of the box reporting services. So this requires an external database, so an SQL server, and we have predefined reports. So if you want to see full user information, and I'm going to pick myself because I don't want to put anybody here on the spot. So let's say Paxi Breton here, and I can hit view report. I can see how many times Paxi Breton has opened the demo environment, for how long, idle time, disconnect time, and you can see how many apps Paxi have opened, and also for how long, because you can monitor those end users. So let's imagine that an end user only opened one app in a specific, and he opened it for 8 hours. You know that user, if he's remote, probably it's not really working. It's just have something that is moving the mouse, or he has something on top of the keyboard. So this is something cool for very insight. You want to look up the latency of everyone. We have report for that as well. So you can do it by user, by RDS session host, by VDI provider. So you can check your health of your, like, let's say your VMware or your Nutanix or your scale computing. Same thing with the AVD or per users. So if I double click on all users, for example, it's going to give me the latency, and I see that I have some users, maybe 200. Well, here it doesn't show 0.8. And then I can scroll down and I see the latency for everyone. So you see my latency here. I'm in Florida, as mentioned, and this is in EMEA. And there is a really low latency here, as you can see. Probably this is the, well, I still have a low latency here as well. But I see one user, 266. Let's see if we can find that user again. Is the same, not the same user, but I see another user, 266. But when you see the same user, for example, look, with the high latency, maybe the Wi-Fi connection of that user is not as good, or they're far away from where we're hosting our environment. So thank you so much on that side. if you can go to the next slide, that was my demo.
Perfect. You want me to go back to the
Just go to this presentation, and let's just
yes,
show up just the last two
minute
slides here.
for sure. Thanks a lot for the comprehensive demo, Paxi. I'm just gonna move it to the next slide for you as well. Ta-ta-ta, there we go. Uh, Perfect.
So the next steps for you guys is this. You can download a trial, scanning the QRG code right here. If I always recommend to communicate when you want to download a trial to your account manager, because we do have SEs that can provide you help. So like that, you don't try to reinvent the wheel. I know that RAS is
No, sorry,
one of
you're
the
wrong there.
easiest tool out there in the market to configure. As you saw, I'm an account manager. I'm not a technical account manager, and I have my own lab. You have an option to discover the Citrix alternative. Right now, we do have a promotion that ends on November 30, 2025. If you purchase more than $50,000 of RAS in a multi-year. So if you buy a 3-year and the 3-year is more than $50,000 for your licenses, so usually it's like around 110 to 140 licenses. And when I say that, is that different market might have different prices out there in the glove. Uh, so you can get the year number 4 for free with the purchase of 110 or 140 licenses. I believe it's like 140 licenses. You buy 140 licenses a 3-year in a lump sum. We can provide you another year for free. It's a big, massive saving. You can try our migration tool from Citrix as well if you have a lot of apps. So that's really cool here. And if you can go next to the next slide.
I'm also sharing these links on the comment section for easier access for
Awesome.
the attendees. We also have a question from Nick Paxi in regards to the costs.
The cost, it would be on the market where you are. It could be if you are in EMEA, APAC, North America, or Latin America.
Yeah, let me just have a quick look on Nick's location. If I can
I
see that
think
from
Nick
here.
is, I believe I recognize Nick.
Florida. Yeah, I think he's based in your region, Paxi.
So I can get in touch with you, Nick. I can send you a quick message.
Perfect, perfect. Let's do that. All right, let me move to the next slide. All right, I think that's pretty much it. Would
Yeah.
we?
So
Sorry, Paxi. Go ahead.
so go ahead, Tess. I would just want to thank everybody for listening here. If you have any questions, this is the time to do any other questions that you might have.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly as Paxi said. Thanks again, Paxi. You were coherent, perfectly coherent for us to understand the technical insights. I think this gives our viewers good amount of overview in regards to how different we are from a Citrix complexity perspective. Obviously, you're open to questions. Not just right now, but even after this, if you just leave it in your comment section, we'll obviously get in touch with you. I just want to make sure that we share these links with the viewers as well. So I'll put it on the comment section, but also, of course, personally reach out with the recording of this webinar. I think something to mention, Paxi, I think one of the questions that was asked even in the last webinar was, what's the timing like? Because you're doing an amount of, large amount of POCs, right, with prospects. What do you think is the average timeline from testing to production? What's the average timeline like for your prospects?
So this is the one of the cool, like, this is a great questions for everybody out there. So usually people might say, oh, I only have 2 months in order to do this, or 3 months, or whatever. We actually did a large deployment, 2,500 seats in 21 days. So it's very fast, because with the migration tool, you can transfer all the apps that you have published or desktop. And the only thing that you need to configure is technically your main policies. If those policies are GPO, so your transition is seamless. If your policies are based on your ideas, let's say if your policies is based on your Citrix environment or your Parallels environment, that's where it takes time. but we have done, like I did a demo for a customer one day. They were in a hurry. We scheduled a second session for the next day to do a POC. They saw how easy it is to deploy. They actually deployed with my SE that day, and we actually got a PO in a week. That's how quick it is. In reality, uh, if you sign an NDA, you can see our incident report is very secure. Our system, no breaches, knock on wood, for the last, believe like more than 5 years. I don't even know if we had actually had a breach, to be honest, because I haven't seen one personally. Uh, and then for deployment, don't be afraid to ask your if you have time and you want to switch over, or you feel frustrated with any competitor, because it could be Omnisa as well. With after days uh, after Broadcom sold them, right?
Yeah.
Uh, it could be Omnisa as well. So don't be afraid just to test the tool. Just test it. You will see that it will do the work that you actually need without that complexity. Very easy to deploy and to maintain. That's my sales speech. That's it.
Perfect. Thanks, Paxi, and thanks everyone who joined us today for their participation. It was great hosting this with you, Paxi. Of course, we've come to the end of today's discussion. And of course, if there are any further questions that pop in, uh, they can be reached out to us personally, or of course, just put it on this comment box here. Or of course, you can reach out to us via our email, as you see it over here, or our website. We have enough channels for people to reach us. So we're just waiting for you guys. No problem at all. I wish everyone a fantastic rest of the day. And just to end this kind of webinar that we did discussion, emphasize on three things. Parallels RAS really differs from Citrix from three elements: simplicity, cost effectiveness, and of course, the security elements that we kind of bring into the table. And yeah, happy to have a chat, guys. Hope we can meet you guys on a one-to-one basis to really discuss how we can help you out in your infrastructure strategy. Having said this, would love to conclude, and thank you, everyone.
Sounds good.
Cheers.